Hello, this is a PRS SE 35th, edition, 35th anniversary edition. You can see there. Very nice it is too. Apart from one thing, there is some damage here on the edge of the fretboard. Now this unfortunately happened when a speaker fell onto the guitar while it was being played. It's not my guitar, but I've been asked to make it playable again because at the moment it's just shards and really sharp bits on the edge here. So we're going to do a fix. The guy isn't bothered about how pretty it looks, but I'm going to try and do obviously the best job I can. So let's go over to the bench. So from my initial once over of it, there is a few areas of damage. There's a ding here which I'm not going to be able to do anything about. There is what looks like a gap where the binding's coming away. There's a slight crack or a raise here. Have a look more at that, and obviously there's the chipping out. So it doesn't look nearly as bad on camera as it actually is, but this bit here would drive straight to your finger if you were anywhere near it. So we're going to try having a look at those. But first things first, let's get the strings off so we can do a better job. Hello. I'm trying out a new overhead camera angle. This blackness appears to be like sort of sludging up from the bottom of the screen. Oh well. Onwards. So yeah, issue number one is this binding that's come away. Can I zoom in at all? There we go. And you can see if I apply pressure, it does move around. Now I think, luckily, the frets either side has constrained it, otherwise it might have knocked the whole thing off. So what I'm going to do first is just get a little bit of glue in there, squeeze it back together and get that set before I move on to anything else. Because no matter how hard it would be to feel, it might still be a little bit bulbous along here. Ah, just jab myself into. Yes, anyway. Zoom back out a little bit. There we go. So what am I going to use to glue it? I could use super glue, but I want to put some decent glue in there. Not the super glue isn't, but. So what would you use? Would you use some Tight Bond or some Gorilla Wood glue? These are the two I usually use. And as you can see in the bottles here, the one I pick depends on the colour of the wood. If I'm using like a lighter wood, like a beech or maple or something like that, then I would pick the lighter one, the orangier one, I should say. But if I'm using a dark wood, this Gorilla Wood glue sets clear, whereas the other sets slightly orange. So I'm picking that one here for this darker wood. Right, first of all, I'm going to clean it down and then mask it off. Okay, so the plan, now I've taped it up, is to get some of the glue. I shall get it into the hole, try and wick it down as much as possible, then clamp it up. Now the best thing here would be like if I had a tiny ratchet clamp, but I don't. Or anything similar. I've got a band clamp, but that's too, yeah, stick with a plan, Chris. I have some clamps with tape on. So, yes, I put tape on to protect the board from glue, but also protect the edges of the fretboard a bit for any clamp damage. Okay. So, let's have a look. How are we getting on? So it's glue scraping, but I think that's held tight. We'll find out when it's back under tension. And speaking of which, the other flaw in the neck, on the fretboard, sorry, was here somewhere. But I can't find it now, so I don't know if it kind of pops back in. You can see your fingernail marks. You can't see. Yeah. So it was like a split, but that's a massive hand. And basically, like, there was a split, and it was like one bit was slightly higher than the other. So I was going to hope to try and get some glue in the crack and clamp it down a bit, but it's popped back in itself, so I can't do anything about that. It may, like I say, when the neck went out of tension, then perhaps it just popped into place, and we never know. I doubt it's going to go back as it was, so let's get this cleaned up. So it's not often I use a spirit level on a guitar, but with the split in the binding all glued up now, it's time to deal with the cracks in the top. So I've the guitar actually is quite stable on its side, but let's not trust that. So I've put some clamps in to kind of, I mean, it wouldn't take a massive shove, but it's going to stop it falling over if I'm clumsy. And apparently that just fell down. Okay, so here's the cracks we're going to be doing with. I'm going to first start with this one here that looks a bit like a fingernail, because I want to try and wick some thin super glue underneath that, and hopefully it'll just vanish, best case scenario, and then we'll deal with the dings later with the UV epoxy. Don't know how much of that came through, because it appears to be focusing on me. Hello. So, the white bit though, did I explain it? There's a bit that was slightly sticking up, and I wanted to just get some very thin super glue underneath it. A, to secure it in place, and B, just to make it disappear. And it has, in fact, disappeared. I don't know if it's coming across in camera because it's behind the bloody controls on the camera. But, so once that's set, we're going to move on to the UV finish and fill those holes. I forgot to say, if anyone's saying, well, why don't you just move on straight away? You blast it with some accelerator, because 3 reasons. 1, the accelerator can make a lot of heat really quickly, and I don't know what effect that's going to have on the surrounding finish. Secondly, it never dries clear when you hit something with the accelerator, and the whole point of putting the thin super glue under that crack was to make it go away. And 3, what on earth was the 3rd reason? No, I think it was a 3rd reason. Heat might have unexpected effects. It goes all bubbly and just won't look very good at all. And see, we filled the hole. I can't even see it now. Awesome. Okay, bye-bye. Right, I'm trying to work out how to set this up and not put the camera in the way and everything in the way. So what we've got is UV resin from Amazon, a UV lamp from Amazon. It's meant for fingernails, but you know, I find lots of uses for it, especially if you're filling with UV resin. And basically you can be going in like 2 or 3 minutes, like sanding it back down again. So there's that. So I'm going to apply the resin. I'm probably not going to tip it straight onto the guitar. That would be insanity. So I'm going to make a puddle of it here, use some sticks, dab it in the hole, and then cure it using the lamp. I'll see how much of that I can capture. So yeah, I did some tests with this particular UV finish, and 2 lots of time on the UV lamp was enough to cure it, which I think is 30 seconds of time. So I'm going to double that and do it 4 times, and then that should definitely be cured enough to start working on straight away. So now the epoxy is all cured, what I've done is I've wrapped extra tape at either end and got a block with tape on it, so I can just gradually sand down, which I've done the first bit. So now I need to move one layer of tape, and I'm gradually gonna go. Where's my finger? There we go. Gradually go down a little bit until just before I'm attacking the actual original finish. So we're getting there. However, I was using this is it acrylic masking tape because it was thicker, and I thought it was going to protect the other sides much better. But I've got down to a point where it's not biting anymore. So and there's only one layer left, so I'm going to have to resort to some thinner masking tape to protect things, and maybe go a lot careful on the block. Anyway, I was making a video, wasn't I? Let's catch up to how far I've got. So actually that's a good angle because you can see it's far from an invisible repair. But so what I've done after the epoxy UV layer, there were a few pinholes, should we say, which I filled with super glue, and then I went through 320, 400, 600 grit paper, and then with wet and dry paper 600, 800, 1200, and then I don't know if you've ever used micro mesh pads. I've just been working my way up here, and then I remembered, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be recording this. So it's actually been quite satisfying because when do you stop focusing on that spirit level? When I first started buffing this up, you could not see the wood grain through the finish where I'd scuffed it up so much, and that's without buffering. So let me just so if I just wipe over with some alcohol, you can see all the scratches disappear entirely, which is what's going to happen. Oh yeah, when it dries out again, you'll be able to see the outlines of here. But yeah, so when it's polished, you can see almost they're all going to almost vanish, and it's facing the ground, and it's going to be able to play it. So there we go. So I've got 3 more stages of these, and then I'll work out if I need to go to a different stage. 12,000, ridiculous. Or if I can start buffing it with a cloth or a cloth. Okay, let's do that. So it's not an invisible repair, but compared to the jagged cut your hand off from the start, I'm happy with that. I finished the buffing process using the nuclear guitar polish that came with the crimson fretting kit. That seems to come out well. So you can see I still need to do some cleanup. Yeah, but I'm going to rub down the fretboard with alcohol, and then wax it. And I believe we are good. Not quite sure why I said it like that, but yeah. Okay, so with that all done, I'm happy. I'm going to finish off this video. I've got to work out how he had his strings on, because it looked like a very specific way of winding, and I don't know, I need to research that. But that's the end of this video. If you want to stick around for my next video, I've got a tool that I've been terrified to use that I bought years ago. Looks like a sonic screwdriver. Anyway, see you next time.